Okay, now we are going to go through selling bonds at a discount. Why would we sell bonds at a discount? Well, this particular bond is $150,000 face value. It matures in 2 years and it pays 6% interest rate, and it pays interest twice a year on June 30th and December 31st. So if the interest rate out in the market, if they can buy other bonds for 8% right now, let's say the interest rate went up that much since we first develop these bonds, then we would have to sell ours at a discount in order for somebody to want to buy ours. They're not going to buy a $150,000 bond for 6% if they could buy the same $150,000 bond at 8% from somebody else. So we'd have to sell ours at a discount to attract buyers to our bond. So the first thing we have to do is say, okay, how much are we going to have to discount? And we've determined that we have to sell it at a discount of 96.37%. So that means it's $144,555 that they're going to pay us for this $150,000 bond. How do we come up with that amount? You take the $150,000 times 0.9637. Oops. And that's where you get the $144,555. Okay? So the very first thing the problem asks you is, what is the amount of the discount on these bonds? And all you have to do is take the face value, the $150,000, and subtract what they're actually going to pay you. So the discount is $5,445. That's how much we're going to give the consumer off when they buy our bond to try to attract them. What is the amount of interest paid? Even though we're giving them a discount, we still have to contractually pay the 6%. So we have to figure out $150,000 bond times 6% times 1/2, right? Because we're paying them half on June 30th and half on December 31st. They're not going to get 6% each time. It's actually going to be 3%. So the amount of interest that we're contractually obligated to pay is $4,500 on June 30th and $4,500 on December 31st. For year 1 and year 2, because it's a 2-year bond. What is the initial carrying value of the bond? So the face value of the bond is always going to be recorded at $150,000, the face value of the bond. Okay, with the bonds payable, it's going to be recorded at that. Then there's going to be a new account that we're going to use called discount on bonds payable, and that is the discount amount, $5,445. And you just subtract the two, and you're going to get the amount that they actually paid. Okay, because that's the cash that we're going to receive. And as the bond goes on, as it starts maturing, as we pay interest, we are going to start reducing this discount. We're going to amortize it over the life of the bond. So what journal entry do we do when we first issue these bonds? Well, we record the cash. And it's not $150,000. Remember that we had to sell it at a discount, so it's $144,555. And then we're going to record this discount on bonds. Oops, discount, if I can spell, on bonds payable. It is a contra liability. It's going to reduce the liability, so it has to be a debit. So it carries a normal debit balance. In order to increase it, you're going to debit it. In order to decrease it, you're going to credit it. And we have to record the bond payable at the face value all the time. It doesn't matter whether we sell it at face value, we sell it at a discount, and the next one we're going to do is selling it at a premium. You always record the bond payable at $150,000 at the face value, because that is the amount that we're contractually obligated to pay. It's illegal. The bond is a legal document. It says how much we're going to pay you at the end. Okay, so even though they only gave us $144,555, we're going to give them $150,000 back, because remember, we had to sell these at a discount in order to entice them to buy. So then what is our journal entry going to be at June 30th, the first day we have to pay interest to these bondholders? Okay, we're going to record the bond interest expense. And we are going to reduce, remember I said we had to amortize that discount on bonds payable. So every time we make a payment, an interest payment, we have to reduce this bonds payable. And we're going to pay out cash. Oops. Right, because we're paying them the interest. Now we are legally obligated to pay them the amount of interest that we said on the bond, the $4,500. So the cash is going to be reduced by $4,500. So we have to credit that. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. Then we have to figure out how much this discount, this $5,445, is going to be reduced every time we make a payment. Well, it's a 2-year bond, and we're paying it twice a year. So we have to take that discount amount and divide it by 4 interest periods. Okay, so $5,445 divided by 4 is $1,361. We're just going to round up to the whole dollar. And remember, I said in order to reduce this, you have to credit it. And then the bond interest expense will be the sum of these two, because remember, every journal entry has to equal. So it's the $1,361 plus the $4,500. Okay, so we're essentially taking that discount and we're recording it as an interest expense to us, because we're actually going to be paying them back more than what they gave us. So it technically is interest expense. So then the next thing is, what is the carrying value of the bond now that we have, or what's the new discount amount now that we have paid that first interest payment? So the bond payable was $150,000. And remember, the discount was $5,445, and we just decreased it by the $1,361. So the new discount on bonds payable balance is $40.84. So our new carrying value of our bond is $154,084. Oops, that should have been a negative. $145,916. So this is the journal entry we're going to make every time we make an interest payment for the next 2 years, June 30th, December 31st, for the next 2 years, so that by the time we get to the maturity date of the bond, this discount on bonds payable will be 0, and the carrying value of the bond will be the face value, the $150,000. And we are just going to record the interest, that additional $1,361 discount that we're amortizing, as interest to us, because technically that's what it is. And so then when the bond matures, we have to take it off the books, because now we're paying them their principal back, the $150,000. In order to reduce the liability, you have to debit it, and we're paying it. So we're reducing our cash. In order to reduce cash, you have to credit it. So by the time you get to the maturity date, it doesn't matter whether you sold it at face value, whether you sold it at a discount, or whether you sold it at a premium. You're always going to be paying them back the face value of the bond. Okay?